Hi, welcome to Rachel Rossi Design. Have you seen some of the incredible Sashiko quilts that are out right now? I love them and I wish I had time to hand embroider these incredible designs, but I just don't right now. So today I'm going to give you a quick tutorial on how to create a similar look on your sewing machine in half the time. I know you're going to love it, so enjoy this tutorial and let me know what you think. So let's get started with supplies. The first thing you're going to need is fabric. Traditionally, Sashiko is done on navy fabric using white thread. In my tutorial, I'm going to be using a linen gray with white thread, but you can use any fabric you'd like. High contrast and solids always are going to look great. The second thing you're going to need is wash and gone interfacing. This is made by Pellon and is easily found at any fabric or craft store. I have a stash of it in my sewing room. It's one of my favorite supplies. The third thing you're going to need is top stitching thread. I use Gutermann, but you're welcome to use your favorite kind of thread, whatever you'd like. The big difference here is that it's nice and thick, so it really defines the design that you're creating, and it has some really nice texture to it that I think just really finishes well. The last thing you're going to need is a sewing machine foot. Now don't freak out, you probably have something that will work. I'll show you what. If you're a Bernina user, I like to use foot number 11. It's called a coordinate foot, and the big reason why it's so great is that it has this deep groove down the center, and your machine might already have one of these, so take inventory, check all the bottoms of your feet and see if anything has this nice deep groove. But what that groove does is that it allows that really thick top stitching thread to glide through the machine. If you use just a flat foot, it will not work. I tried it. It gets all bunched up. It's a big rat's nest down there and it's not good. So try and find a foot that has a nice deep groove. Again, Bernina, number 11. Perfect. And it's actually made for this. So now that we have everything ready, why don't we go sew something? So find the right side of your fabric, and we're just going to start drawing some lines. Sashiko isn't actually traditionally straight lined, but we've kind of turned it into that. So I'm just going to kind of give myself a really light outline to follow here, because I don't need a huge piece for the project I'm working on. And all you're going to do is mark lines 1 inch apart. So I'm just going to start anywhere here. I'm going to draw a thin line here, as thin as you can get it. Thick just makes it a little harder to follow on your sewing machine, but it doesn't have to be perfect and it comes off. So what I'm doing is just drawing straight lines and then lining up on my 1 inch mark and drawing another line exactly 1 inch away from it. And again, perfection is not required. Just have fun with it. It's supposed to look hand done, and hand done is not perfect. Now that we've got everything all set, you're going to put your interfacing down and layer your fabric on top. Just make sure everything's nice and flat out. Okay, and we're going to start stitching. So we've got our machine with our top stitching thread in the top. It's white. In the bobbin, we've got a gray thread that matches my fabric as closely as possible. We're on a straight stitch. The width is 0, and the length, I have 3.5. You can do anywhere from 3.5 to 4. And all you're going to do is simply stitch along the lines that you've drawn. I'm going to start in the center just to make my life easy, and start a little bit further back than you'd like the stitching to go. No need to backstitch here because I'm gonna cut this anyway, and I don't need it to be secure because I'm gonna end up cutting it. Here's our first stitching. It looks pretty good, so let's keep going, see what it comes out as. Awesome, so now we're gonna rinse off our interfacing and the chalk and see what it looks like. Now that our stitching is done, all we need to do is get rid of our interfacing and our chalk lines, iron it out, and it's ready to use in your project. So I just have a bowl of warm water here. You can just run yours under the sink if you'd like, but I just wanted you to be able to see it coming off. So I'm just gonna put it in. Again, you can just run it under your sink. And all you do is just rub it until it disintegrates. You'll feel it kind of peel off in like a couple places, maybe around where your stitching is, and just keep tugging at it, rubbing it, and working at it till it goes away. But it usually will come off in pieces and then disintegrate. See how it's kind of coming off in globs? Just keep going, don't worry, it won't stay like that. So here's our front, and here's our nice clean back. No goop, no muck, and we're just gonna dry it off and iron it out, and we'll see what happens. Here now, I've trimmed it down. Everything is ironed and nice and flat. My front has my gorgeous white stitches. My back just has a sort of grid pattern with the gray thread. And the stitches look very hand done. So what's happening when you use this kind of top stitching thread and a dark bobbin is that the thread actually lays on top of your fabric and the bobbin comes up and wraps around it. So it's a little bit of an illusion to make it look like you hand stitched and went up, down. And it looks really nice and hand done. And even though it's not perfectly straight, it's not something you'd really notice, especially once it's all sewn into your project. So now you can get adding it into whatever project you had in mind. If you need a project idea, stay tuned for my tutorial on how to make a Sashiko glasses case. Thanks so much for watching.